Hey everybody, it's Kelly. Welcome back to another episode of Ask a Therapist. We are back after a brief hiatus, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what happens in January for a lot of us. New Year's resolution. People set New Year's resolution because there's a very easy and very understandable fresh start come January 1st, right? We have left the old year behind. We have seen the ball drop. We've partied. We've said goodbye. We have now seen the sun rise on a brand new year. It's not just a new month, it's a new year. We can be anything we want to be, and we can decide what our goals are and then achieve those goals by sheer force of will. And typically, New Year's resolutions are focused on getting healthier, looking better, living a better life, achieving something that you hadn't achieved before, maybe didn't think you could achieve before. Most people in the psychology field will agree that New Year's resolutions don't stick because the people who make them do not actually intend to do the amount of work it takes to make that change permanent. And that's understandable because changing something is really hard. Giving things up is difficult, especially when those things are things that bring you joy, especially when those things are like vices that you depend on when life becomes stressful. But yet we all have this idea that the beginning of something new, the beginning of a new year is going to be this magic formula to give us the motivation to change. But the reality is nothing changes until we change, right? Like if you don't want something to be different and if you don't do things differently, nothing ever actually changes in your life. Speaking as a therapist, I am telling you, if you don't change things, things don't change. Now, these are all very obvious things. What is the purpose of me saying this here on my channel? Over the last few months, I have said a lot about religious trauma, and I have said a fair amount also about the queer community and religious trauma and those connections. And out of the woodwork have come some trolls that have a lot to say about someone who has a lot to say, right? And often things have gotten deleted at this point, and some things I have come back against. But as we are moving into the new year, I'm also thinking about things and how they need to change and what needs to be done differently. And resolutions don't really hold a lot of weight to me. And the reason for that is because they're very seldom kept. Resolutions have always carried this almost Lent-like energy for me. I don't know if you celebrated Lent when you were in church circles, but Lent was the time between Ash Wednesday and Easter when you're supposed to give something up for those 40 days. That time you're supposed to spend praying and spending time with God and like focusing on him when you would like want that thing that you gave up. And giving something up for Lent usually was really hard. It was supposed to be really hard. Through that whole endeavor, I used to teach people to, instead of like giving something up, bring a practice into your life, like start doing something, because it's easier to start a new discipline than to end a vice or something you didn't really like about yourself. It's easier to start a new thing. And as I'm thinking about like, what am I going to put in my first video of the year and that sort of thing, a video that doesn't usually get a lot of views anyway, and what do I want to say to you because I've been gone for a couple weeks. And I'm looking through some of the comments that have come up over the last like month or two. And the ones that I've spent the most time with have been the ones that have been the most combative. And I've wondered why people feel combative right now about some of the stuff that we're putting out there. And then I realized that I don't actually care. Yeah, I don't really care. The purpose of this channel is to provide a space for people who are coming out of religion, people who are coming out in general, who are discovering who they are, maybe some of you later in life and haven't had a place to sort of work through that, to give information, yes, absolutely, but also to provide space for you to work through that. And so many of you have found that in comment sections with each other. Some of you talk to me about that stuff, but honestly, the amount that you talk to me is so minimal compared to the amount you talk to one another. And that, I think, is a lot of the value in this channel. And so really, I'm just here to say through this video, New Year, same me. We're just going to do more of that. And it's probably going to continue to bring some of those trolls out. And you can respond to them if you want to, and that's fine. I'll likely respond to some of them and not to others. For videos that need, views, I'll probably respond to them as engagement. But there's no reason for any of us to become less, especially not those of us who live in the United States who are seeing what is coming down the pike potentially and are unsure of where that's going to go. I know that the instinct for a lot of us would be to hide and to shrink and to become less and always be safe. Please understand that I'm telling you always be safe, but I also want you to know that who you are is okay. More than okay. Who you are is who you should be, and you do not have to take on the roles that other people are expecting you to take on because of what we've seen media outlets and large companies and people with a lot of money do recently. And by recently, I mean over November and December and into January. And the shift that we've seen happen in policy in the United States. You do not have to shrink and you do not have to not be you. So we're going to continue to be a space where people can be themselves and where people can talk to one another and to gain that support and to gather if they want to. And that's going to continue to evolve. And the way that we can gather and what we can sort of provide one another, we're going to keep evolving that this year, because this year and the next 4 years are going to be interesting for all of us. I don't want what is happening and what we are watching happen be a reason for any of you to feel like the progress you've made is not appropriate progress. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you all next time. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other.